So guys, we brought the truck back in so we can get a little bit better shot without all the different shadows. But this is the new bumper. This is the Horizon series from Ranch Hand. Smooth steel lineup. This is a brand new bumper. It'll be released in a couple of days actually and showcased at SEMA. So you guys are getting a sneak peek of this bumper before anybody else does. And this is the first truck in the country to have this bumper mounted on it. A few things that they did here that are really, really nice. First of all, front and rear bumper both have these shackle mounts that are structural, part of the actual frame of the bumper, which goes to the frame of the truck. So you can use those for actual towing. Also, we put a Warn M12000 heavyweight winch in, swapped out the steel cable, put the synthetic cable in, 12,000 pound strength. The bumper comes with OLB LED lights already with it, so you're going to get all 4 up front and you'll get 2 for the back. The front ones will come in 2 different patterns, flood and spot beams. So you'll have your inner floods and your outer spots, or your outer spots and your inner floods. We actually connected the 2 right here on the inner side of it to a strobe, so they'll be able to strobe. That's going to be another video though. As you can see, they have the bull ring up front here, double layered, which is really cool looking. That pipe looks to be about a 2-inch diameter pipe, so it's a pretty thick bull ring up front. The bumper's made out of 7-gauge steel, so it is a very, very hefty bumper, especially compared to some others on the market that use 12-gauge steel instead. Some really nice unique touches that CNS did were to add these little extensions off the side of the bumper to match the profile of the fender. And those are actually made out of steel. So these are structural, and you'll see later in the video where we do kind of a backtrack of what took place, how those were designed and made. Sorry, the truck did not get a bath, but that's because I told them I didn't think the truck needed a bath. They were about to do a full detail on the truck before we did this photo shoot, but I said, you know what, it's a truck. It can be a little dirty. Ruby Red Metallic, base coat, clear coat. Did a phenomenal job prepping it and painting it, which you'll also see a little later in this video. Another really nice touch that CNS added was they welded on a piece of steel underneath where you see the controller box for the winch to mount the controller above the bumper. It gives you much better access in the event you need to actually use your winch. Here is the rear bumper. Again, Ranch Hand Horizon series. You can see how the word Ranch Hand is actually cut out of the steel. You can see the Ranch Hand logo cut out of the steel on top. It's divoted to improve traction when you're stepping on it. It comes equipped with LED lights both on the front and back, so you get all the LED lights already packaged with the bumpers. Supports the rear parking sensors. Again, paint matched in ruby red. But I can tell you right now, I absolutely love it. They did a phenomenal job and it looks amazing. So some of you may be wondering where I'm going to put my license plate, since in the state of Texas you need to have a front plate or they actually will pull you over. Robert is going to be mounting a license plate frame that they designed and painted to the front of the truck. So he is making the mounting holes for it right now. I cringe as they drill into ruby red metallic paint, but they know what they're doing because they painted it. A lot of work happening to the F450. So I am here with Al, who is the owner of CNS, and they have the Horizon bumper that'll be going on my truck in front of me. They're prepping it for paint. Al, can you take a second and kind of explain what you're doing here and why it's so important?
Well, one of the features that we do is anytime we're going to paint something, we go back in, sand the initial powder coat paint that's on it to get rid of any rough spots, abrasions, any possible defects in the welds, and get them sanded so when we put our sealer coat down, it'll cover all of the imperfections that may or may not be in any product that gets manufactured from forming and bending steel.
This setup right here is going to go through its finishing process. They're going to finish sanding everything, and then it's going to go into the paint booth for primer, base coat, clear coat, right?
Yes, sir.
And we're doing this in ruby red. Now, everyone knows that this is going on a 2017 F450, my truck in particular. So CNS did something really, really cool. They did not want this bumper going on my truck without having some way of extending the sides of the bumper out to match the profile of the fender flares that are on the F450. And I think you guys are going to be just blown away by what they did. So what are we looking at here?
What we have here on my left hand is the initial prototype of just a lighter gauge galvanized steel that we took and cut and formed so that we could fit it to the truck or to the bumper to the exact contour that we wanted. On the right side, this here is made out of actual carbon steel, and when we're done, we'll sand down all these edges. Right now it's still in a rough form, but basically the idea is going to be that when this is installed, this will fit on the edge of the bumper. It will contour to it. The fender lines will line up with the fenders on the truck. The fender, the way it matches, will line up right on the money. There will be a rubber gasket that will fit in between here so you don't get any paint scratch. But this here will be basically what we're looking at. This is the first prototype that we've done, and all these edges will all get sanded down to match the contour of the bumper as the bumper normally is.
That is amazing. This is just incredibly well done. Look at the edge of that. Perfectly welded. And if you could flip that over just so they can kind of see, it was all welded from the inside right here. And just the look of it, how, you know, it really looks as good as the finished product. That is just amazing, the quality of work you guys do here.
Thank you. One of the initial challenges that we came up with was when we went to make this contour right here. Since this is all one piece, it's folded over and bent, to make that contour is rather difficult. So what we did is we just made a separate piece that will all get sealed and welded.
That looks really good. So typically, you know, someone who's not doing as good of a job might just make a straight cut right there just so it's easy to bend.
It would have been a lot easier to just leave this as one piece and bring this as a straight edge, bend it over. But the problem is, once you put it on the vehicle, we would have had a rounded fender, and also we would have had a straight edge. So this way here, the contour will match the contour of the fender.
This is purely cosmetic, guys, but that shows you just the attention to detail that CNS puts into their work. That they weren't satisfied with making a straight piece here. They wanted it to match the profile of the fender, which is really a testament to just how good the work they do here is. So this is the rear bumper that'll be going on the truck. As you can see, they've sanded it down very well. I like how they hit the edges, especially because that's really where you would see any of those little pinhole openings in the powder coating that could lead to rust. Again, painting is all about prep work. If you don't prep it right, it's not going to stick. And if you miss a spot, if you just don't do it right, you're likely to mess it all up. And then you got to worry about blend time when you do all your repairs, trying to blend the paint back in. Do it right the first time, and you'll have a really good product when you're done. You know, we're standing inside of a paint booth, and this is a big differentiator between CNS and other shops. A lot of shops will hang a bunch of visqueen, they'll hang a bunch of stuff around, run some fans to do their painting, which absolutely is not the right way if you're going to do any type of professional level paint job. They've invested in the right equipment, the right facilities to do this correctly. If you don't want little pieces of dust and little pieces of debris in your paint, you need a paint shop with a proper ventilation system to create that negative airflow to pull out any of that dust or pollutants that might get inside of the finish. And they have the right setup here. So they have their paint booth here and their bed liner booth next door. And he was explaining to me how all these brackets are custom designed by them for the specific bumper applications so they can get in the right spots, get underneath it, get around it without having to reposition the bumper and possibly causing, you know, some type of defect in the material. So this is the front bumper getting ready to be installed. As you can see, we ditched the steel cable, went with the synthetic cable. This is a 12,000 pound test cable. This thing looks beautiful. They've left a little bit of space here so they can make some micro adjustments to it once it goes on the truck before they tighten those down. That turned out great. I am just thrilled to death with how those bumper extensions, they look really, really good. I like how they also mounted a bracket here. They welded a bracket to hold the control box for the winch. And from the back side. So how much weight would you say that going to a synthetic cable actually eliminated? About 60 pounds, 70 pounds maybe?
Probably about 50, 60 pounds.
Turned out really nice. Let's take a look at the back bumper. And that is a glossy coat of ruby red. That looks really, really good. I'd like to take a quick moment and thank CNS Plating for doing this tremendously awesome work on painting the bumpers, getting them installed, installing the winch, hooking up the lights, basically everything they did. Phenomenal job, phenomenal crew of folks at CNS, and I wouldn't hesitate to take my vehicle there to get anything done. They just do amazing work. I also want to give a huge shout out to the folks at Ranch Hand. They have been phenomenal sponsors. They've supported my channel when I only had a couple thousand subscribers, and I just broke 60,000 subscribers this week. So definitely want to give them a huge shout out and really thank them for all the support that they've shown me and shown my channel over the past year. I want to thank all my subscribers as well. I think this was a phenomenal build, and I'm really glad that you guys were here to see it and be the first people in the country to see these bumpers actually installed on a truck. And finally, if you hadn't had a chance, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Thanks, everyone.